How do you win? How do you become a champion? How do you achieve all the things that you want to do? How do you become successful? How do you have a healthy, fit, strong body? How do you get a career or business that you love? How do you achieve all the things that you want to do? And there's some big questions and there's some rah-rah motivational answers, yeah? If you YouTube those questions, if you Google them, if you go to some seminar or workshop, you'll get lots of answers on how to be successful. And I'm sharing that with you a little bit sarcastically because as an old lady, I've been to lots of workshops and lots of seminars and lots of big conferences and rah-rah motivational events and read lots of personal and professional development books and watched lots of podcasts and TED Talks and all of the stuff that's available to us to become successful. So if there's so much stuff in the world that says if you do this, you'll become successful, how come there are so many people who are miserable, who have a lousy, stinking, rotten job, who are in terrible relationships, who don't have any money and they complain about their life? Now, that's a big generalization, but how often do you meet people who are genuinely happy, love their life, love their career or business, they're fit, healthy and strong, they're financially free and they've got great people in their life? There's usually, well, if you go looking for them, it's a bit hard to find. So, but they exist, don't they, those people? They are there somewhere. So what are they doing and how did they do it? And one of the, I think the myths that I would like to dispel or just give you something to consider, that we get told in workshops and seminars and books and podcasts, success seminars, that if you're a great person, great things will happen to you. Or if you always do the right thing, or if you're disciplined, or if you focus, or if you set goals, or if you're committed, you'll achieve your goals and it will happen for you. And isn't that awesome? Well, I don't think that's true. One of the things I've learned having been on the planet for many decades as an old lady now, what I have found out is that the world will throw at you whatever it wants to throw at you. There'll be terrible things happen. There'll be natural disasters like bushfires and floods and droughts and earthquakes and hurricanes and typhoons and all of those things. That all happens to everybody, not to me personally. They happen to everybody. There'll be horrible medical challenges that happen. So people get sick, people die, people get cancer, coronary heart disease, type 2 diabetes, yucky, horrible diseases. That happens. Do we have any control over that? That's a great question. And if we do, should we? If we don't have any control over it, what can we do to accept it and move on? What about career or business? People go broke. Businesses go broke, the government could shut your business down. There's been lots of businesses of late where they were going exceptionally well. They were a tourism business or a hospitality business or some kind of adventure business that attracted people from all over the world. And now that business is either gone broke or will likely go broke in the next little while because of government restrictions and what's happened in the world from a worldwide medical pandemic. So stuff happens, terrible stuff happens. So does that mean that we don't achieve our goals? Does that mean that we're miserable? Does that mean that we should just accept that life's going to be terrible? And I'm asking that question because if you listen to the rah-rah motivational folks, they will say if you do the right thing and if you're disciplined and if you focus and if you're committed, life will be wonderful. Well, guess what? It isn't. Stuff happens and stuff happens to everybody, whether you are disciplined or undisciplined, whether you are fit, healthy and strong or unhealthy and weak, whether you're old or young, tall or short, stuff happens. So what I've learnt and what's made life for me really interesting, because a lot of people get a bit cranky with me, a bit angry, because I'm happy all the time. I'm married to a man who's happy all the time, whether it's raining or snowing or hot or windy, or whether we're broke or whether we're wealthy, whether the government's doing crazy stuff or we think the government's doing great stuff. This is my husband's amazing championship trophy that I've just banged into. 29 times at the moment world champion in martial arts. And that all of those championships have come with challenges and injuries and hard opponents and tough times and arriving late because of a plane being delayed and not the weigh-in not going right, and all sorts of stuff happens to world champions. Some people are stopped from playing because the government says you don't have the right paperwork. Some people are, the referee says you made a mistake so you can't play anymore. Some people are dropped by the coach. what is it that, well, why would we think that life's going to be awesome just because we're a nice person? And I'll go a little bit deeper than that, and this is very controversial. I was brought up in a Christian environment, in a religious environment, and that was pretty much drummed into me that if you do the right thing, then God will look after you, or God will make things great for you. And I've come away from that experience thinking that that would be a little bit lazy. I think if you believe in God, and this is, again, I will preframe, this is very controversial, but if God made us as intelligent creatures that can think for ourselves, He's given us the ability to work hard, to have integrity, to be focused and committed and disciplined, if we rely on God to do everything for us, wouldn't that be lazy? I was taught, again, as a child, that if you want to find a helping hand, the best place to find it is at the end of your own arm. Why would we rely on other people to help us? Why would we rely on the world to be nice to us? In fact, I'm going to suggest the opposite. If you really want to be happy every day, and I can only share this with you because after all the many years of being alive and all the many rah-rah motivational seminars, I've actually come to the absolute conclusion is that shit happens. I put it nicely, stuff happens. And it's always going to happen, and there's going to be horrible people and horrible things happen. There's going to be stupid, crazy governments. There's going to be people who are mean and nasty. There's going to be all sorts of terrible things that happen. And isn't that awesome? Because you see, let's use sport as an example. One of the reasons I don't like team sport is if I play really well and I put in 100% effort and I do my absolute best and we lose, I find that a little bit fascinating. Like, why didn't those people play better so we could win? Well, the interesting thing is I have no control over those people. So I choose not to play team sport. I do activities, do athletic pursuits where I'm in full control of what I do, so that if I lose or if I get injured or if I get hurt or I get sick or I don't win or whatever it is that I'm doing, if I'm responsible for it, if I'm relying on my own helping hand at the end of my own arm, if I take responsibility for my life, then I feel good about myself. What is your definition of self-esteem? There's a great question. The suggestion that was given to me, and I love this, is that it's your internal engine, it's your driver. If you've got a big engine, it doesn't matter what's going on the outside, it doesn't matter if somebody says you can't drive fast, or you've got an ugly paint job on the car, or the interior's got a broken seat. If you've got a big engine, you can go forward. And for me, that is the driving force, is to feel good about me, to respect me, to like me. And then whatever happens after that doesn't matter. So if I put 100% effort into everything that I do, and that's why you'll hear me constantly talking about, because I'm an exercise professional, I talk about exercise all the time, but I find it really fascinating when people talk about going for a walk or doing a 45-minute class or doing a plod jog. And I get why people do that. It's, it's an activity and it makes you feel good because you did something. But if you put in less than 100%, how can you expect 100% result? If you put in a 50% effort, isn't it likely that you'll get a 50% result? So with life, if you put in 100% effort into everything that you do, like with exercise, you'll get fit. If you lift 100% of what you can, you'll get stronger. And if you keep lifting as 100%, you'll just keep getting stronger because you'll be able to lift heavier. If I'm the best person, and when I say best, I'm very hesitant about that word because best is a finite thing. I'm the best. No. Even the best know they can get better. So if I'm constantly aiming to be better than I am today, so I aim to be fitter, stronger, healthier, wiser, tougher, stronger, more educated, more disciplined, all the things that make us all better people, if I focus on that every single day, is it possible that it doesn't matter what life throws at me? If people are nasty to me, if the government does crazy stuff or locks you down or all the weird stuff that's been happening of late, if people criticise you, if people gossip about you, if there's a bushfire, if there's a flood, if you have a flat tyre, if you get sick, one of the things and this is just a personal example, if I do get sick, I take responsibility for that. Now, I haven't been sick for a really long time because when I started to take responsibility for, hey, Rowie, you've got a cold or you've got a runny nose or you've got the flu, how did that happen? Because you were run down, you silly wally. You weren't drinking enough, you weren't exercising hard enough, you were too stressed, you weren't looking after yourself. Let's look after yourself and make sure that you don't get sick. Take responsibility. And I always use this example because it's I don't know why that concept got lost. When did we stop teaching that to our kids? If you ate it, if you're fat, you ate it. If you're broke, you spent it. If you are unfit, you didn't exercise. If you're weak, you didn't lift heavy. If you've got a lousy, stinking, rotten job, you interviewed into it. If you've got terrible people in your life, why? Why are you still there? And those statements are very harsh, I get that. But I'm very privileged that I was taught all of those at a very young age, that I need to take responsibility for me. If I want to win, if I want to be happy, if I want to be a champion, if I want to be financially free, if I want to be healthy, fit and strong, the helping hand is not going to come from outside. A little pretty pink box of health and fitness and strength and happiness is not going to fall out of the sky and go, Rowie, you're so happy now. Rowie, you're so healthy and fit and strong now. Rowie, you're financially free now. We have to do it ourselves. We have to take responsibility. And the beautiful thing about that is you can't fail. You can't ever be a loser. You can't ever be disappointed in yourself. You can't ever have disrespect for yourself. Because if you put in 100% effort every single time, it doesn't matter if you lose. And I've got this trophy here again for a reason. Because I've watched my husband fight some of the toughest, strongest, most scariest fighters in the world. And I've watched him walk onto the mat to fight them. And sometimes he wins and sometimes he loses. And people say to me, don't you get scared when he fights? And I go, no, because he's a really tough, strong guy and he knows how to fight. He's prepared, he's planned, he's smart, he's fit, he's strong, he knows what he's doing. So if he gets beaten, he's gotten beaten by a better person. He never loses. He only would come second to somebody that's better than him. And in that case, and I'll quote Roger Federer, the tennis player, where he's had some tennis matches that have gone to 5 sets. And even if he's lost, he's made that beautiful comment, nobody lost here today. Everybody put in 100% effort. We went to 5 sets. Everybody worked as hard as possible. One person went home with the trophy, but nobody can be embarrassed, because if you rock up, obviously, to a Grand Slam tennis tournament and you're not prepared and you're not fit and you're not strong and you didn't do what you're supposed to do to get ready for such an event and you lose, well, of course you did. If you lose, but you put in 100% effort and you did the training and you did have a mental headspace that was ready and prepared and you did everything you possibly could to get ready for that event and you still didn't win, who cares? And I say that so flippantly for a reason. Because a lot of people, if they don't win, they get upset. If they miss out on an opportunity, or they miss out on a contract, or they go for a job and they didn't get it, or they play a sport and they didn't win, they get upset, they get depressed, they get miserable. And I've got to ask the question, could the only reason be for you to be miserable or upset or feel like a failure is because you gave up, or you didn't start, or you didn't put in 100% effort? Because you can't put in more than 100. I always have a giggle. People say to me, I put in 110% effort. Well, first of all, if you've got to tell people that you put in 110% effort, I've got to ask, why are you telling people? Do you feel a need to go around and say, I'm awesome, I put in 110%, I'm awesome? 110% is a challenge though. If you've got a bike tyre or a car tyre and you put 110% air pressure into that tyre, what's going to happen? Exactly what happens to most people who talk about, I put in 110% effort and nobody noticed. You explode, because you can only put in your best. You can only put in 100. And if you put in less than 100, well, then we have to accept the consequences. If I wasn't ready, if I wasn't prepared, if I put in 50%, I deserve a 50% result. But if I put in 100% and I didn't get the contract, I didn't win the event, I didn't win the competition, I didn't get whatever it was that I wanted, who cares? Because isn't it about who I have to become to get it? If I'm at the Grand Slam tennis tournament, if I'm at the World Championship Taekwondo event, if I am running the marathon, if I've opened a business, isn't that by itself a winning event? I'm there, I'm doing it. So many people talk about doing it and don't do it. If you're there and you're putting in your 100% effort, getting your best helping hand at the end of your own arm, and every single day you aim to get better, stronger, wiser, fitter, healthier, more educated and do all the things that champions do to win, which is not sit on your ass and do nothing. And I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to me. How can I expect to win? How can I expect to be happy? How can I expect to have great people in my life if I sit on my ass and do nothing? So don't be an ass sitter. Don't be a whiner. Have some cheese with that wine, get off your ass and go do what it is that you want to do. And I say that harshly because I think we are lacking a bit of harsh. We seem to be hearing a lot lately, oh, it's all right, you're okay, it doesn't matter if you don't put in 100% effort. Yes, it does matter. Because life is going to throw stuff at us every single day. Just because you're a nice person and just because you do the right thing or you say nice things to people doesn't mean that people are going to be nice back. I used to wish for that, I used to hope for that, and I used to believe that if I'm a nice person and I do the right thing, then great things will come to me. No, great things come to people who do great things. Great things come to people who put in the effort. They find a helping hand at the end of their own arm. They put in 100% into everything they do, and then maybe the world will give us 100% back, but maybe not. We can only control the things that we control. So if I'm prepared, if I'm ready, if I'm 100% fit, 100% healthy, 100% strong, and I'm going to use that as a really interesting example. There are some people who are really fit and really strong and really healthy, and they still die of something. We're all going to die, by the way, so that's an irrelevant statement. But there's some things that are just called bad luck. There are some things called, I've got no control of that over that, so why would I worry about it? As long as I can look in my mirror at the end of the day and say, today, I put in 100% effort into everything that I did. I exercised at my best, I ate at my best, I treated people beautifully, I took every opportunity available to me to make my life the way I want it to be. And at the end of the day, if I did that, isn't it about what I did and the process I went rather than just winning the trophy? As I was getting ready to chat today, he came in and I had a joke about this trophy. I could go to the trophy store and buy one. I could go to the trophy store and buy, let's pick tennis for example. I could buy 21 trophies to say that I am the greatest tennis player of all time, the GOAT, greatest of all time. Because a Grand Slam winner now would be, at this stage in history, would be 21 Grand Slams. I could buy the trophies. And wouldn't that be ridiculous? It's not the trophy that tells us who we are. It's not the win that tells us who we are. It's not the applause that tells us who we are. It's not the 500,000 social media followers that tell us who we are. We have to look in our mirror and have self-respect and love who we are. That's called self-esteem. And if you've got a big engine that can drive you forward, it means you can drive over challenges, through challenges, across challenges. Nothing can stop you because you've got the engine to make sure that you are the best person that you can be today to help you become a better person tomorrow. So at the end of your day, literally, when you look in the mirror, did I put my 100% effort into everything that I did today? And how can I become even better tomorrow? And could that mean, number one, that you'll be happy, number one, that you'll feel good, number one, you'll have safety and security in your career path, in your sporting life, doesn't matter what you do, because even if you get fired, and even if you get thrown off the team, and even if something happens and life shits on you, you'll know that you're strong and you know that you can handle it. It's not about becoming, let's just say you're a millionaire and you lost all your money. There's no challenge in that, because if you know how to make millions of dollars, you now have the understanding, the wisdom, the experience to make millions of dollars again. If you've never done it before, please don't criticize the people who have, because to become a millionaire, to have a beautiful home, to have a beautiful car, to have a life that people are envious of, if you had to, and I'm not talking about inheriting that stuff, of course, I'm talking about if you worked your backside off to achieve those things, you worked your backside off to achieve them. And so many people look at that and say, well, I wish I could have that. Well, wishing doesn't get us anywhere. Hoping gets us nowhere. It's damn hard work, discipline, focus, and commitment today that we can apply tomorrow that will keep us going forward. And isn't that the best direction? Up and forward. Up and forward. Yes! Ha ha!